Al pie del Ávila majestuoso, a 920 metros sobre el nivel del mar, en un valle de verde geografía que se abre de este a oeste, surge Caracas, la capital de Venezuela.
And now, our feature presentation.
You are watching a master at work.
Go get some!
What is up, folks? My name is Rafael Chacinas, no es el Capitán Rafucho, and with my co-host Zion Zenith, welcome to another banger, another episode of The Combat Club, because it is a club to everyone's join in. Anyone, anytime, anywhere, because we're born to fight. Right now, I just wanted to tell you, how's it going in this Thursday night, because we are ready. We are really excited about the UFC 327 in the city of Miami, Florida. So right now, there's going to be high expectations. And don't forget to subscribe to Capitán Rafucho and my co-host Zion Zenith on YouTube, also on Kick, Instagram, TikTok, every one of the social media. Now, I just wanted to tell you how the rate of 1 to 10 are really excited about for the UFC 327 in the city of Miami, Florida.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 1 to 10. I'm gonna get about as high as hype as you can get. I'll say on an 8-9 scale. You know what I'm saying? No chords to 10. They don't exist, but maybe the White House chord. We save those 10s for like big events and stuff like that. But boy, is this chord stacked. Even if you look at the prelims, I mean, like the prelims just completely from top to bottom is completely stacked. We have fighters like Kevin Holland. We have fighters like Gamrot. We have fighters trying to climb out of the abyss like Kelvin and Vicente. You know what I'm saying? We just have this whole court from top to bottom is just filled with a bunch of matchups, and then to top it off, we get a light heavyweight main event that is going to be fire for the vacated light heavyweight championship, and even the two fights underneath that. It's stacked. Yes, we did lose Joshua Van, and to show a fight, but at the end of the day, this card is still stacked from top to bottom. I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait to talk about fights tonight. Let's get it.
Exactly. Right now, let's get it for the UFC 227 picks. And the first one is going to be for the main card we got for the featherweight, Cub Swanson versus Nate Lavender. Right now, I'm going to break it down for you because for striking, we got Cub Swanson, which is the clean striking versus Landwehr overwhelming power. So this one is going to be a really fascinating one because this is Swanson's because they're trying to like the wordplay over there, but Swanson should be able to be defensively sound here because he has been smacking around the fair like the chin is not holding it up too. But Lenowin can absolutely test the chin of Cub Swanson, put a horrible end to the story. But for the wrestling and grappling, there's gonna be like a one takedown during the fight because there's gonna be like the wildest one. But between for that fight coming up there between Cub Swanson versus Nate Lavender, I really understand this is gonna be really complicated because Swanson is about to have this chin really test here. I know Swanson has been like legendary fights in this career, but Lightning hits differently. He hits like Gaethje, just big swinging strikes with tremendous power. I mean, we asked yourself at 42 years old, after 10 years of fighting, of getting hit on the face, he can sustain the same durability and toughness, has a tall enough for all these years. Because if we want to see like a clean fight, I think that Swanson is going to be like the advantage. He's a tremendous boxer. He utilizes range management to very well. But Lavender is coming off back-to-back knockout against Cherio and Du Ho Chui. And while this looks very bad record, I do give it like a lot of props in there because he has a power to reckless aggression to put Swanson away and disrupt for a perfect Swanson because Landry is very gritty, heavy hitting fighter, and that's basically what he knows for. He's from the name train. He's gonna walk forward for two heavy punches and look for the opponent away. He thinks like a heavyweight and hits like a middleweight. But outside of that box, it's not special because it's not like a high level or technical fighter. It's just like very aggressive, very simplistic, and heavy hitter fighter. But it's just like a walking natural disaster. Now, can Swanson get really knocked out by Landwehr? I wish that I can would, but this one is gonna be slanted out of here, which is really surprised because some might think will think that it's gonna be something interesting, but at the same fight, it's gonna be really catch up with Cub Swanson here about for like the timing and the kinds of worry about because especially the family Cub Swanson family is gonna be there. So I'm pretty sure that after that fight could be like the last fight, the last dance for Cub Swanson after all these years of his career. So right now, and I'm sorry, Cub Swanson, but I'm gonna give to Nate Lavender, round number 2, knockout. Oh, your mic is up.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, wow. I wasn't expecting that one out of you. I thought you was gonna take Cub. That being said, though, absolutely, two veterans in the sport, I would say. We have Cub Swanson. This guy been fighting for 22 years now. He is certainly we like to put as a warrior class. You know what I'm saying? When you look at him, when you look back at his career, being that this is a retirement fight, you're gonna see like a Donald Cerrone type of fighter, a Dustin Poirier type of fighter. Even though Dustin Poirier never fought for, never got a championship like an actual gold, he did have the interim for a bit. These are legends. These are warriors. And Cub Swanson is one out of those 30 wins. 15 of them being in the UFC. This is the guy that came over from the WEC when the UFC bought them out. That being said, though, Nate, veteran of the sport, really talented, but really his chin just gave out already. He doesn't really have the amount of abilities to take punches as he was in the past. It's going to be a super exciting fight, but I see Cub Swanson going up on top, ending up on top. I'm sorry, hurting Nate. and getting the victory with that. I think second round is gonna be what I would say too, but I'm gonna do the total opposite. I'm gonna have him instead of Nate knocking him out. I'm gonna have him hurting Nate on the feet and then finishing Nate on the ground. So I'm gonna say Cub Swanson by submission. He does have 5 in his career, and what a way to go out. Nate's really chinny, and I see him hurting Nate and putting him out and in a submission. Bold take, I know, but let's make it happen, Club. Go out on top. Let's have a fairy tale
Wow, this
ending.
is gonna be wow, this is really interesting. All right, so the next fight that I'm gonna break it down for now because this one is gonna be really interesting because it's for the light heavyweight bout between Dominic Reyes versus the dancing machine, Johnny Walker. Now, this one is gonna be really interesting because Dominic Reyes is more like a clean striker than Johnny Walker. But the chin betrays from time to time, and Johnny Walker, on the other hand, is just like a wild card. Whatever he fights, no one knows what's gonna do until he does it. Because therefore, the chin also betrays you. I mean, both chins are very fragile. Both strikers hit hard, but we're gonna see someone's getting really knocked out. But for the wrestling and grappling, I really doubt we're gonna see like a takedown there. If we do, it would come out if Regis is get really hurt. Because to be honest, right now, Dominic Regis is coming out for a tough KO loss against Carlos Ulber, and that's very understandable. How fluid and quick Ulber that pull counter was, well, definitely gorgeous, and has always had a debate discussion coming up there where the fighters are able to fall in suddenly because, well, remember how competitive he was against John Jones in 2020, but his man is like disappointed. His train wins against Shukovi, Smith, Kirillov do look nice on the record, but Regis, I know it's a decent striker, but he's not that really fantastic by any means, but he had the power and the speed at the light heavyweight rank to prove dangerous to everyone because the main thing we are likely to talk about like how they had the grace concerns because I just wanted to expect to use his footwork a lot. He's like an emotion heavy fighter. He likes to stick in a mood to give me like much cleaner from a lighter fighter for the two. But Walker is coming off for an impressive win over Shank last year, which he created like a big upset and showcased how important the fighter Sean really is. And that's what the fight was, because it was like a Russian about to push like a new star coming out of the spotlight. And Walker shut that down real quick, just like fast. And Walker still like the same Walker, all he's still funky on the feet. His chin is made off of fun the players, but he has no show up any change in the style because Walker is much longer than Reyes, which is really weird. Much taller if include heavyweight fighters, and he's still like the tallest fighters. Now, this is gonna be like a really hard, but pretty much easy to predict because it seems like we're seeing like a fight between two dangerous strikers whose chins are really atrocious. So I'm thinking there's gonna be like an easy pick or hard pick, which is gonna be more complicated. But I'm leaning more on Regis because I thought it's gonna be like the better competition. But I understand it's the light heavyweight, is the light heavyweight division, so everyone is there away. So I'm gonna choose Dominic Regis, round number 2, knockout. That's very simple.
I love it. I love it that you're choosing Reyes because I'm gonna have to go at Walker. Both is entertaining fighters, but both are chinny at this point. You've seen just Reyes
Mhm.
get knocked out from Urberg, and I get it. That's different level of striking than Johnny Walker. But I just think that Johnny Walker utilizes his size in this matchup. I think he's really motivated from the Paramount deal to get that finish. Hopefully, he doesn't put himself in harm's way, but he probably will. And if he does put in harm's way, then Raphael's prediction will come through. Dominic Reyes will take his head off. This is a guy before he just got knocked out from Urberg, was on a 3-fight win streak from stoppages himself. I just truly believe that if this fight was 2, 3, 4 years ago, Dominic Reyes runs right through Johnny Walker. I just honestly think that Johnny Walker is going to come out here and have a performance. I think he gets the. I think the opposite again. I honestly think that Johnny Walker gets the job done. I don't think he knocks out Reyes. But I think he hurts him to the point where it looks like he's gonna win the fight on the feet, and I think he doesn't shed on Dominic Reyes because Dominic Reyes is a good striker. I just think that he has the better exchanges and he comes out the
Exactly.
victor in a split decision. So I'm gonna say Johnny Walker.
That's very great right now. That's very great. All right. So right now we see the comments right now. So salute to Alpha Raider. What's up, Rafa? And
Absolutely.
of course we got Daniel
What's
Berry,
up,
Sports
Daniel?
Highlights. Salute everybody else.
Let's
And
get it.
I just wanted to tell you between for like the pits coming up there, and this one is gonna be really interesting because the next one is gonna be like the heavyweight fighters. Because the next fight that I'm gonna to predict now, this is gonna be really interesting coming out there. We got Curtis Blaze versus Josh Hawkett. Now, to be fair right now, because for the striking, I think it's gonna be like 50-50 in terms of the both fighters. But Hawkett has such a like FU power and speed that could have Blaze some trouble. But Blaze has a huge reach advantage. And if he can really stay at the jab range and let Josh Hawkett overthrow a little bit higher, then Blaze could capitalize on that. On wrestling and grappling, I mean, to be honest, right now, both are good wrestlers, tremendously good, because they're college high level professionals. Just imagine like all about for the wrestlers, but I think it's gonna be like smidge better with Blaze, but it's gonna be like a fascinating clash here. But it seems like between for that fight, Blaze is coming out for the flesh play decision over like other fighter because everybody thought that just a few months ago because I feel like the fight against Cunha was like late last year. Now may like now the time to go because it's coming up for a split decision against Cunha and it was like disappoint, but now he's gonna get wrestling doing, but it kind of looked very bad for more that he can chew about it. But now he's fighting against Huckett, which is like a can crushing fighter who might bid an offer like he can chew like at the front of the mic. But Blaze is still like an intelligence to wrestle that fight, but he should do like nothing. But he needs to show out what real mixed martial arts wrestling looks like. He needs to push like a pace coming up there because they show like the better in tenacity and toughness because his chin is always like very iffy. If Josh Hockett lands it over a 9 round, they could be like at a game over. But it's still got a little place to have fought everybody on the heavyweight division, champions, contenders, trucks, trains. He facing all the disparities that going pulling off. And we sure we're gonna witness like another one, which is exactly like a veteran versus rookie because I know that Josh Hockett, and I had the opportunity to interview him because it's like more than Ken Crusher. But I think like more that this is gonna be like the winner, but he has an extensive background in college wrestling. He was a fullback in San Francisco 49ers. He has more
Thank you, foes. Raphael, give me one
up
second. I have
there.
a phone. There you go.
Oh, okay. Because I understand that it should be like really enough, but this is gonna be like an every thought that I had to do with Josh Hockett. I mean, we don't know about how the fights end quickly because he has a limited experience, is very ballsy on the mic, but that fight is gonna be like an answer a lot of questions. But do I have like the confidence to pull it off against Curtis Blades? Because it seems like how they could get the job done as long as the fight remains standing, but it's gonna be restrained. But I'm really prepared that it's gonna be like a veteran versus rookie. So I just wanted to tell, but give me a like Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades at the round number 2 knockout because I understand that Curtis Blades is very experimental when it comes to his resume for the wrestling and of course the power jab movement. So I really think that it's gonna be like a not like the much upset because I really thought that the heavyweight division could be like something about to change. So give me Curtis Blades round number 2 knockout. I mean, this is gonna be like easy at all. Easy at all.
Yeah, Josh Hockett, definitely a character in the media today. Well, this week, should I say, and even today at the press conference. Definitely a character. Definitely know why he's doing it. Looking at his
Oh,
resume so far, 8-0. But I think this is a big step up in competition. Bigger than I mean, like I could be wrong. He could go out there and knock Curtis Blades out, but I have to lean on Curtis Blades here. Like Raphael said, this is the big a big fight to use his IQ, to use his experience. If you look at strength of schedule, there's no other there's very few other schedules in the heavyweight division that can match up with Curtis Blades. This guy's fought from the who's who against division in his division, and with Josh, I just think it's too fast, too fast. Curtis Blades is going to utilize his experience and take this fight to the ground where it should be and try to get him out. Now, I understand that Curtis Blades does have, I believe, 13 knockouts, so he can definitely knock Josh out. I think Josh's best hope is to try to take that Francis Ngannou strategy. Try to go in there and just try to swing for the fences and try to get this guy out of here. Because if you let Curtis Blades get on top of you and then he's going to start dominating you from the top, it is going to get bad for Josh Hooker. It's going to be a long night. If Curtis Blades doesn't knock him out, it's going to drag it into a unanimous decision where Curtis Blades just levels to the shit, man. And this fight could clearly be a fight where Curtis Blades just fucks this guy up for straight 15 minutes. Not saying that Josh Hawkett ain't good, just saying that I believe this might be a little bit too much, too fast. Now, Josh Hawkett, if he comes in there and he fights Curtis Blades and I'm completely wrong, I'll shut the fuck up and I'll be like, damn, that's why I'm not a matchmaker. You know what I'm saying? But I love what they're trying to do. But a Curtis Blades, off of the performances he had in the UFC, who has he really fought on the resume that Curtis Blades wouldn't smoke himself? So that being said, I'm gonna take Curtis Blades.
Oh yes, that's a good strategy because I understand that it's all about rookie versus veteran, but I really support about for that pick. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we got for the co-main event for the light heavyweight between Asamad Brucanano versus Paulo Costa. Now, this one could be like a show stealer, but imagine this. In striking, Asman Mukhanov is like more fundamental and clean than Paulo Costa, even though that Paulo Costa's aggression is going to be like an X factor, a major factor to winning that fight. And Mukhanov has like power on his hands, but it's like really too dumb. And his strength of silly speed and how crazy he is. Look at the look. Because it seems like it's gonna be like a much of it, but in wrestling and grappling, I don't really think it's gonna be like a much wrestling here because Costa might initiate the takedown at the round number one, probably because if he wants to like legitimately wants to win, if he doesn't, that should mean like really standing. But Muskananov is like one of the snappiest triggers on that division. It sounds really weird, but the way he strikes is very quick, but he is not like a quick fighter. He strikes very far that it comes so quickly and catches your opponent off of the guard for a whole lot. And he has an extensive kickboxing background, or at least an extensive like fighting background, which is pretty much kickboxing, but very European, like from Russia. Because I really expect it to be like more technical. He should be able to fight more cleaner and time the strength much better than Costa. And Costa could be like an interesting one because he's really far to be like a technical striker. He just hit really hard and knows the fundamentals to striking, but is he really enough? Because coming up for a win against Kopylov, in which Kopylov just frozen it up and did nothing. Affected to statistically, he should be at like a better striking. So he really makes that sort of treading on the feet, but he's really moving enough for the weight. But there's like one thing that really intrigued me because he gave me like a chance to find this week here, but he's the aggression, marching forward, letting hands go on, but he might like look at a launch to like 4 or 5 strikers coming out there at the round number one, but striking defense is very rudimentary for Paulo Costa, and even thought it's gonna be like the aggressor, but I think that the best tool for Costa maybe to use like that fight is gonna be the head kick coming out there for the round number 1 or 2 if he can provide the power side of Muskanov, if he really shuts down the ability to fight back. Because it's gonna be like a while. It's gonna be a showstopper. But I think that Muskanov is far superior striker to Costa. There's a lot of levels in that shit. Because Costa is such like a fierce power explosiveness, but he's gonna be really enough? I don't think so. Because Mukhtarov's well experience can really pay off massively here. It's just like a 205, whatever it's called, isn't it? Because Koza is just like a blower, 105 who fights once in a year. He's basically like an uncle that appears a family guaranteed to one target about like everything to get into a scraps and others. But I don't think it's gonna be really excited to get him about this. But give me what's gonna not be a knockout round number one, because I know there's a lot of levels to be like it is Franklin, and Muskanov is better far against Paulo Costa.
Yeah, Musa Zakhanov is just gonna smoke him. I mean, like
Yeah,
coming up from middleweight to light heavyweight ain't gonna do him any favors. The last time this guy knocked out someone
mhm.
was 2018. So all this testosterone built up for him to just go on this rage at the press conference and just be. I like Pablo. I like watching him fight. But in this fight, he's gonna get
Exactly.
himself in a bad position and get knocked out. I mean, like
Yeah,
yeah, he might come in and not throw as much, but he's given this illusion that he's gonna come into this fight, he's gonna swing for the fences, and he's gonna take this guy out. And even if he doesn't come in swinging for the fences and he fights calmly and collective, Moskanov is going to pick this motherfucker apart. I mean, like, this is the UFC matchmaking saying, "Hey guys, we need a big name for his resume. Let's fucking feed him Pablo Costa. Hey Pablo, you want to come up to light heavyweight? Guess what? Here's a 16-0 guy. You want to get a title shot? This is I I get why they did this, but let's be real, man.
yeah, I understand about
Not
it.
even, yeah,
Also, we had to salute
17 and
to
0.
CPT
17 and 0.
MMA, also Dos, Mateo, Raider Roth, Patrick, and of course, because we are live in YouTube.
Let's get it.
Okay, 17 and 0. Okay.
17 and 0. The fuck are we talking about this for? Let's go, Raphael.
I know, because I know the connection could be like
Oh, you're
something
Gucci.
like, I don't know, could it be like a really realistic right now? But all right, so ladies and gentlemen, I know that sometimes the internet could be like freezing it off there, but right now we got the main event coming up there to break it down for you, because it is time for the light heavyweight championship bout. And to be honest, right now, it's gonna be really excited. So hit him up, Bruce Buffer. All right, so it's time for the light heavyweight championship between Jiri Prochazka versus Carlos Ulberg. Now, this one is gonna be really interesting to breaking down, because we're talking about the samurai versus Ulberg. In striking, Prochazka is gonna be like a wild card, but Ulberg is gonna be really superior, the quickest striker. But Prochazka is gonna be like hunting season, drawn for the fight. And I think that the Ulber had the footwork to fight disciplined for the first few rounds. Eventually, fatigue and settled. That's when Prochazka gets the striking going for the second round. Because Ulber is very sharply enough, using footwork and head movement. He's going to be like an attractive track fighter. So early rounds to Ulber get an advantage. But Prochazka, you got to be careful, because it's going to be a later rounds advantage. And for the wrestling and grappling, I don't think we're gonna see like the takedowns at all. This is gonna be like a dream come true, like a striker's delight. And I know the Prochazka is coming out for a knockout win against Khalil Roundtree, which is very interesting, because they weathered the early storm and turned up the heat on very fatigued Roundtree. Now, this is one of the something that I just wanted to get involved, because I don't think it's gonna be overrated. No, because it's a fan favorite. And Jiri has been rocking Luke very well, because they had more weapons in arsenal. That one scene in the matches with Morpheus and Neo got the entire arsenal all over them down them. Prochazka has been high chance to catch an Oliver off guard from in that fight. And I'll expect to steadily walk down Oliver at two of the field strikes where there's nothing really fantastic. Lots of combinations. Also, there is outstanding footwork, or he'll be blocking him there. But I think it's gonna be like perhaps a head kick or a spinning attack over there, and boom, there's gonna be everything. But Ulber has become like something very favorite. because I know he's from Australia, New Zealand, and he has to do two ways to win the fight. Lightning fast boxing, because he's using like a boxing exceptionally wide, because he dropped ranges. Train like a pull counter, he's reaching a range, but that stands because he's know about from Muay Thai, and the footwork is not like very non-consistent. Perhaps is very special in that footwork and the distance management, the deliberate assessment from the boxing, and we're gonna to see like a to miss it out to the perfect counter. So this is gonna be like a find that finish in those later ones, because I know Jir Prochazka could be really dangerous, could be really quiet. He's just like a samurai, and he knows about for the game plan when it comes to the late rounds. Because I know the defense coming up there in that case. And that fight is gonna be really awesome. This one's for the fans, for the division, the legacy for both fighters. We're gonna see like a fight wars coming up there. Eventually, someone will get the belt. But it's gonna be like at a 50-50, because both fighters are very good on the feet. They have their own knives, they have their own styles, and both fighters are very vulnerable on the feet. But Prochazka is like more incredible and more dangerous than Olberg. So I know there's gonna be like a love it for the fight coming up there, because they're not gonna sleep in anything. But give me Jiri Prochazka round number 2 knockout, because I will expect it a lot of things more as a striker, because I understand he's a samurai, but he really understands about for that combination coming up there over for the last rounds. Could be really expected.
Yeah, well said, well said. You guys know how I feel about Max Holloway, Joshua Van, Michael Morales, Shakoat. I'm a huge Yui fan, man. I absolutely love Yui. Seen some of his fights in Ryzen, seen all of his fights in the UFC. Definitely one of my favorite fighters to watch. Gonna try to be unbiased here. Looking at Carlos, definitely a contender. Love the gym he's training out at City Kickboxing. Definitely watched majority of his fights in the UFC. Gotta go tune on to that UFC YouTube video to finish it. I was going back and watching some of his earlier fights. Love seeing that again. Definitely puts himself in a lot of good angles. Never really wastes any energy. Sneaks up on you in that power. Definitely fighting for the championship for a reason. Definitely he's gonna probably be a champion one day. Just not now. He could clip Yui. Yui likes to put himself in bad positions. We could see it. But there's a difference between Alex and Carlos right now. And Alex is going for a three-time belt here, and that's the only person that beat Yuri in the UFC twice. So that being said, I think Yuri really learned from those fights. To see him come out and do what he did to Hill, to see him rally against Roundtree, to see his length of his career went from this guy that is just super awkward, that dances, that just drops his hands, that does all this weird shit, to still doing all the weird shit, but more knowledgeable, higher IQ, gets his hands up a bit, and that's what he's gonna have to do against a killer like this guy. Don't take this guy lightly. When he pressures fighters, he usually wins, and that's what he did against Roundtree his last fight. The only scary thing about it is Yuri takes hits, and he gets hit a lot, and all it takes is one from Erberg to put his lights out. Kind of what we've seen in Alex fights twice. So hopefully he goes into focus, which I know he built this whole week leading up to his fight. He's been really at a good place mentally. Even seeing him, I watched Aiden Ross's stream the other day, apparently, for some reason. Nothing against Aiden. I usually never really watch streams, you know what I'm saying? Like a full stream. Him and Orman was on there playing basketball with the boys. So I'm like, yo, what the hell? So that was cool to see them do that. Just kind of get out of his comfort zone, and Aiden Ross complaining about how sweaty it was. It was really fun to see. But even the fact that when the UFC calls him, right, this guy gets lost in the mountain, goes on into focus mode, talks to spiritual, whoever he talks to up in the mountains, and comes back and lets them know if he's going to accept the fight. And I think this is the champion right here, guys. We're looking at the champion. I won't be surprised if on Saturday night Carlos ends up champion, but I think he's locked in. I think after losing that belt, which he never lost, he actually was a good sportsmanship, and he actually vacated the title when he was injured. A lot of these motherfuckers just hold on to the title, waiting for the UFC to do something, and UFC doesn't. But Yuri definitely. I think he's more talented, man. I think this just like it's not too much too fast, but
Exactly.
I just think Yuri is just a different level right now. And Carlos is a good fighter, so don't want to take anything away from him. And I know a lot of people's picking him, but I'm gonna go with my dog Prohaska, one of my favorite fighters to watch. I don't talk about him as much as I could, but now that he's fighting this week, I'm super excited to watch him and definitely see what he has in store next. Maybe him versus Mr. 17 and 0, because I'm not gonna try to pronounce his name, but maybe him versus Mr. 17 and 0 after Mr. 17 and 0 gets rid of Pablo and moves up to get 17 and 0. With that being said, I think Asmat and Yuri's next. Don't want to look past Carlos or Acosta. With that being said,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a fight, a fun fight, a night of fights. Sorry, English just left the chat. That being said, I'm really devastated. I thought we was gonna have two of my favorite fighters with Joshua Van and Yuri on the same court, but still kind of hurt from that one. But I know that the UFC is gonna make it up to us, and Joshua Van and will get his title defense
Oh
here
yes.
soon. And that being said, though, another fight that we need to talk about before we get out of here is the card main prelim fight in Pitbull versus Aaron Pico. These are two guys coming in from different organizations. Well, came in. They've already been fighting in the UFC for a while now. Came in from different organizations, and doing their thing. Obviously, Pitbull's on his way out, and Pico, I think, is gonna dust him. But I didn't want to talk about it because I think that's a cool matchup that they put Pitbull versus Pico. I didn't see that one come in. I think this is a good matchup. I think I think Pitbull can definitely land, but I just think Pico is the far superior fighter as far as this point. Losing to Murphy, but Murphy's one of the best fighters in the division. You know what I'm saying? Don't let that Mozor. Who the fuck who's beating that guy? You know what I'm saying? Who the fuck that guy's gonna be champion? Who the fuck is gonna beat that guy? You know what I'm saying? So that being said, though, definitely Pico is gonna be a if for a while. You know what I'm saying? He has how old is Pico now? Is he like 30, 35? Is he getting up there? He's
Oh yeah, yeah,
29.
yeah. It's
He's
almost
fucking
like
29. Oh,
29.
dude, Pico's gonna be in the division for Pitbull's gonna get dust by this guy. Aaron Pico, first
Wow.
round knockout. First round
Yeah,
knockout. Aaron
and
Pico. Mark my fucking words. Go right ahead,
yeah,
Rafael.
yeah. And talking about Patricia Pitbull versus Aaron Pico. Now, to be really honest, right now, this is gonna be like a typical battle between Bellator versus PFL fight. I mean, for striking, I mean, Pitbull's punch power should be like on display right here. I mean, it's like the shorter fighter that allows here like a more freedom to overland attacks. He might be like the Chino Pico and wants to rob Pico hopes to get in a win for the UFC, but I think Pitbull is more like the fact to striking, and Pico's wrestling is very monstrous. Because what about to say that grappling could counter, but I think Pico is very highly capable to get into the fight to the ground, and we're gonna to see like how the weekend is gonna be. He doesn't eat a punch, get it sense to the ground, but it seems like I know that Pico's coming up for a knockout loss against Murphy. He ate like a disgusting spinning elbow attack or a spinning back fist, but he's a top tier wrestler. He's well trained at any elite level at college wrestling. He has a college to show for it. And hopefully, is going to be out wrestling Pitbull. I mean, Pitbull is not a proper wrestling athlete because he trolls out with a submission that comes to return. No, it's not going to happen because they have something to get it into the force. So it's gonna be expected like a lot of scrambles on the ground, but I would expect that Aaron Pico used the top pressure just to start to post the arms of people. I mean, come on now. I mean, Patricia Pitbull is not a real wrestler. Aaron Pico does because he has a resume at college wrestling when he was a kid and he was young. I mean, Pitbull's not really young anymore. I mean, the edge gap gives like the slight advantage of speed and ability, but Pico is like more aggressive instead of Pitbull because Pitbull is like more the strike lane, but you can't even take down to the back foot, and it's like more dangerous striker. But Pico has to take a lot of advantage in wrestling.
You're absolutely right on that one. Anything else you want to talk about before we end it? I'm pretty much good, but want to pass the mic over to you, my friend. Should be an exciting night of fights. You know, got Kevin Holland versus Randy Brown. That's gonna be another good one. Um, I just looking at this Calvin
Oh
versus
yes.
Vicente Luque, and then I'm just like, okay, um, but yeah, it should be a fun night of fights.
Yeah, this should be like a lot of fights. And of course, the last one we're gonna break it down is well, Kevin Holland versus Randy Brown. But I gotta tell you for this right now, Holland's wrestling and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is way more decent. It is fought like they've been bowling on the ground, but it's like under-respected part of the game. So I think it's gonna be really mixing it up here. And for strangling, he's probably the more trickier because we're gonna see like a little bit more of the feet and much like kicks and the put in like a class in Holland Flair, but also sometimes he just fight like I don't know, but he doesn't have the time around because it's like a very quiet, talented Alba Rice. Because I understand there's gonna be something more interesting, but they have aspirations coming up there. But I know he can strike extremely very well, but he also do look at the fun stuff out of the ground. But Brown is coming off for a brutal knockout against Buffham. That's what I like 6 months ago, so he recovered about that now. But he's a well-placed striker to similar to a knockdown for a knee for Wolfgang because Brown is very famous this in the fighter, but he's not like an output striker where he throws, and I think it's going to be illegal. Not to eye poke something, but that swings of the fight into a round favorite. But I think it's going to be like a fight of the decision right there. So give me Kevin Holland by decision because the same amount for the fights can be like a really crazy out there. But I think it's gonna be like a more sharper boxing for Brown and of course Holland. But if the leg kicks take place early, then the box is gonna be really neutralize it.
I'm gonna say on that one, I'm gonna say Kevin Holland by knockout. He does
Oh
this.
yeah.
He's the type of guy that'll go lose to that Canadian guy and come out with a knockout. He's just that type of fighter. You know what I'm saying? What was his name? Let me see. What was his name that he lost against? That I should have won that fight. Mike Malott. Obviously, Mike Malott won that fight unanimous decision. But that being said, that Kevin Holland, shows up when he wants to. That being said, he's always going to be entertaining and fun to watch. Um, yeah. That being said, that is a fun fight. Fight. We got that Medeiros kid fighting too against Padilla, Chris, that guy. Yeah, should be a fun night of fights. See what happens.
Yeah, let's see what happens right now. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, that's it for our episode of tonight at the Combat Club with Capitán Rafucho and of course my co-host Zion Zenith. Make sure to subscribe to Capitán Rafucho and Zion Zenith on YouTube. Also, you can follow us on Kick, Twitch, Instagram, anything about for the social media right now. But I just wanted to tell you, salute to everybody else on the chat. So thank you very much. Thanks for much love and respect coming out there. Thank you. And of course, UFC 327 is going to be really, really incredible because we've been seeing like a really at all, but this time is going to be really different at all. So thank you very much. Hope you see you there next time in another episode of the Combat Club because it is a club when everyone can fight anyone, anytime, anywhere. So thank you very much. I hope to see you there at the next episode. Salute to y'all and let's get it.